Beep beep. What is up, ninjas? My name is Semworld, and today we're going to be looking at some of my favorite producer sounds, which is going to be Chris Lorenzo, Chris Lake, and their duo called Anti-Up. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to create similar leads in the style of Anti-Up, mainly their track Concentrate and Pizza, which are some of my favorite tech house, electro tech house tracks at the moment. Now the funny thing as I make this video is that there's this YouTuber called Thomas Anthony that asked Chris Lake a question on best advice for producers trying to get out there, blah blah blah, and Chris Lake had this to say:
sounding like other people, find your own lane, you know.
Find your,
it's one of the most powerful things in this scene is having a sound where people can go, oh, that sounds like an Eric Prydz record. That sounds like a Deadmau5 record. That sounds like.
So I find it a bit funny that I'm here spending 2 to 3 hours sometimes to recreate these sounds to make tutorials on. Now my purpose with these videos, guys, are not to help you rip off the artists or sound like them essentially. You know, my purpose is a lot of people would like to know how they achieve certain effects, and I'm here to kind of shine light on it because this might inspire you guys and might give you confidence going like, I know how to do all this. I just need to, you know, find that idea and produce it out. And as well, you can always turn this thing into your own thing differently. It's good to get inspired from other artists, but try not to sound like them to that point. Like, let's say you go for the similar lead like they did, don't go for like a similar bass line. Find your own sound, in essence, like Chris Lake said. Now, the key to the Anti-Up saw, guys, essentially that's what the songs we're using. They're very analog based. A couple things. The first one is going to be that even though, let's say, the Concentrate track is in G minor, the bass line is following that format. The top lead, which has that weird funky melody, it's not playing in key majority of the time. You're going to see that in the tutorial I'm going to show you guys the MIDI, that a lot of the notes hitting aren't part of the scale. In fact, they're part of another scale. Now, I don't know what to call this. It might be a gypsy scale, a Locrian, a blues scale, a mixture of everything. But in essence, that's what creates this, makes that sound the way it does, because as you're going to see, it's just a simple saw running through a bit of subtractive synthesis to give it a nice little funky, trippy vibe. But in essence, it's the MIDI that makes that melody. So if you get anything out of this tutorial, fuck music theory and just do your own thing. Just start putting notes everywhere. Now we're going to be creating these sounds inside of Silent One, guys. I prefer to use that synth over Serum when it comes to using just the standard wavetables, when we want to use like the saw, the square, the H poles, the sine wave, the standard analog ones. With that being said, we're going to get started with this tutorial. But as always, guys, if you want to support my channel, evilsounds.com is the place to do it. I do have a couple of tech house packs you can check out, like the Dirty Chicken Volume 1 Silent One sound set, which has a total of 150 presets. So if you want to support my channel, that is the best way to do it. Support my sound design work. And with that being said, let's get straight into this tutorial. Alright, guys, and welcome inside of Ableton. Now, a few things before we do get started with this tutorial. I know I've been talking a lot, but in essence, in order to get these melodies, guys, I did have to do a bit of like work. And what I mean by that is I got the songs downloaded and then I put an EQ on them to just try and isolate that main melodic part. From here, I use Ableton's tool where if you drag an audio channel into a MIDI channel with like a synth in it, you can choose harmony or melody. This helped in creating these melodies, not fully exact, but close enough where it gave me crucial notes to go from there. It took me about 15 minutes afterwards to kind of get it to where it's at right now. So the first sound we're going to focus on is the Concentrate one from Anti-Up's Chris Lake, Chris Lorenzo Concentrate. Now, like I stated, you know, the melody plays a huge role in this sound. In essence, here we have the Silent One saw, and we're going to play the melody. Alright, so as you can see, it's a very intricate melody. Now, this track is in G minor, and like I was telling you guys, you know, if you look at the melody, G sharp, F sharp, F sharp, G sharp, these are not notes that are part of the G minor scale. D sharp, that is part of a note in the G minor scale. C sharp, nope, nope. Nope, E, nope. E, high E, nope. G sharp, nope. A, that's part of the scale. But as you can see, that's in essence what sells the effect of this sounding very trippy and goofy and like it doesn't belong. But it just works, you know, because the bass line stays in the G minor most of the time, I believe, in the G. And the melody is just allowed to do whatever the hell it wants. So that's how this is created. Some key notes here, you can see. We do have these kind of nice little pitch ups here, the notes that are way up there. And the reason for that is if you see, if I have that there, it doesn't sound that modular, but once I put this up, That's what helps create that modular vibe. So if you get anything out of this, you know, fuck music theory, throw it out the window. Throw it out the window. People say you need to learn music theory, not for tech house. Nah, I'm just kidding. But that's what helps create this vibe. So if you ever want to create these kind of melodies, now you know how to do it. Get out of scale, experiment with it. Okay. With that being said, we're going to work on the sound. Now, the sound itself is a saw-based sound. A bit of subtractive synthesis will get it to where it needs to be. All subtractive means, guys, is that we're taking away from the saw, adding to it, taking away. And we use filters, distortion, EQ, envelopes for that. So first things first is we're going to put a mono legato on this sound, okay? Now, two crucial things, even though this is a very simple concept, I know you guys understand, N mode versus S mode. N mode is just going to be normal mode. And during normal mode, when I have it really high up, it doesn't affect every note. It's only going to affect the notes that are gliding over each other. So it's going to affect this part. It's going to affect this part here probably, this part definitely, and some of the notes as you're going to hear. So this is crucial because if I go with S mode, which is a very popular one to do because now you don't need to overlap your notes, you still get the glide. You can't take advantage of high portamento times as you can in N mode because now S mode will apply to every single note. However, it does give a goofy vibe, and if that's what you want, then you can also do it that way. However, N mode for me, high amount. From here, we're going to go with a bandpass filter, and the reason we do the bandpass, guys, is because it has such a unique vibe to it. And what I mean by this is that a low pass will cut off all the highs as you go from right to left on the cutoff. A high pass will do the opposite. It will cut off all your lows to the, from left to right until you have nothing. The band pass, however, it's like a mixture. Like they both had a baby and they intertwined together, and now you have this nice little U-shaped filter, as you can see. It focuses mainly on one frequency, but this is good if you want very goofy sounding melodies. In 24 dB, it's more strict, so it's less open, and in 12 dB, it's going to be a little bit more, not as narrow, but it's going to allow more through. We're going to go with the 12 dB one, and from there, we're going to pick our cutoff. We're going to increase the drive so we get a bit more volume. We're going to add a resonance, and this amount is important. It's going to help us in just giving us that weird, like, it's not clean vibe. And that's another one of the things with these sounds is that a lot of times they're not clean. It's important to note that because a lot of people always want the perfect clean mix down. But a lot of times you don't need to have that with the sounds. You want to make them a bit dirtier to fit the theme of your track, which in essence is dirty. Now from here, I'm going to add a bit of movement to this by applying a bit of an envelope change here with a high decay, low sustain. Whenever you want to add movement to sounds, the best way to do it is if you want fast movement, then, you know, LFO or envelopes will be the way to go. However, with this one, we're not doing as much movement, but we're just moving the filter up here, and it's slowly coming down every single time a note hits. But if we do it to a point, the notes that are held longer are going to have more movement than the notes that hit softly. That's something crucial that you can do in your production. From here, we're going to apply a bit of distortion. With that resonance, you can see the resonance adds a bit of character to it. It doesn't make it as cleaner, but it has this nice vibe to it. However, here we can also go with the bit crush, which is a bit dirtier, and it doesn't sound fully right, but it can also work. Now what I'm going to add is this pitch back effect with the pitch as well to, again, add more movement. Here, it's a very slight decay, low sustain. From there, we can EQ that sound and make it sound however we want. Let's say we want to get rid of some mid-lows. You think it's too bright, you can lower it a bit. The sound itself also has this very nice high end to it, so you're definitely going to want to add like a boost. But in essence, that's how we create a sound similar to Concentrate. If you feel this is too rough, you can always ease it up on the bit crush. And don't be afraid to use third-party plugins for distortion, but here I'm just using the ones from Silent to kind of show you what it can do. Different distortion units like Trash 2, Isotopes Trash 2, Decapitator from Sound Toys. Those are good ones that you can push hard as well to get more analog, true distortion for the sound. But in essence, that's the concentrate sound, and as you guys can see, the key, it's going to be mainly in the melody, the way you do it, and of course, the sound design plays a role in it, but not as much as that melody does. Now, the next sound we have, guys, is going to be the Pixa one. Now, the melody of Pixa is good. It's supposed to be in G sharp minor or A flat minor. As you can see, it doesn't start on G sharp. In fact, it starts on that +1 semitone. So as you guys know, G minor, and then we hit that +1. If we're in G minor, sorry, you know, everyone knows that scale. Then +1 would be that G sharp, which... Alright guys, now let's move on to the next one, which is the Pixa one. I love this song. It got a lot of hate. If you guys watch the music video, I think it's because some of the girls are getting taken advantage of or something, and there's some weird shit going on there. Personally, I think, you know, that's part of the song, the clubbing environment, all that stupid shit that happens. But in essence here, we have this in, this is supposed to be in G sharp minor or A flat minor. As you can see, again, we're out of key on this one, but not as much. A, we got the C, which is out of key. We got the A out of key, but it's +1 semitone, the G house effect, the badass note, as I like to say, A, and vice versa. But that creates this nice melody for us. It's not as complex as the concentrate one, but it's, again, a cool effect, again, where we get out of key for a bit. Now, when you hear the saw, guys, essentially this is what we're using. And again, this sound we're creating is not super identical. It's like 80%, 90% there. I feel like it has a lot to do with also the post-processing in it, like the distortions that they use and vice versa. But we can get very close. First off, we're going to go with the envelope one and lower the sustain. Decay around there, you know, you want to use your ears. If you want it super plucky, you can definitely do that, but we're going to go with a higher decay as the sound doesn't sound like it's fully reaching 0 dB every time it hits. From there, we're going to add a bit of release, and you're going to see what that does. You can see it creates a sort of bell sound. And the reason for this is just that we want a little bit of an after effect to it. And what I mean by that is if I play this with high release and do this. Let's go a little bit higher. You can hear like this sound that lingers a bit, and that's because the saws have high releases, so they're sticking around a bit, and that creates that effect. Now, we don't want to overdo it to that extent, but just a bit. From here, we're going to apply a filter on this that's not going to let all the highs out, because we get that like kind of lushy vibe on it. So we're going to use this filter to get rid of that. From there, we're going to distort with a tube. A hard clip sounds better. From here, we're going to EQ out of the serum, because as you can see, this brings in like these weird low frequencies, artifacts that we don't want, and then we're going to cut it. From there, you can make the sound however you want, add OTT. We're going to put the arm face on the saw down all the way so that it sounds the same every single hit. Okay, if I get rid of the distortion, you can see that the hard clip gives this a bit more sustain, and that is the key to the sound. From here, you know, you can choose to definitely use other like third-party distortion units that are analog-based. One of my favorite ones is not the Desmord from D16, but the Devastator. It has a lot of good stuff in it that you can definitely use to just get the sound sounding a little dirtier. I personally use the presets because it's a little bit intimidating to fuck with it, honestly, but the presets usually do some good. Hear more decay, maybe? But you can see distortion does a lot for us, especially the one coming from Serum to create the sound. In essence, that's all it needs. It's not wet. It doesn't have a lot of reverb. It might have a little bit and no delay. So the sound itself, again, it's the melody and that nice pluck vibe that it gives us that vibe. But with that being said, guys, those are going to be the anti-op saw pluck sounds that I honestly like a lot. I think they're insane. the way it was used. It goes to show you don't need to do a lot of crazy stuff when it comes to sound design, just a bit like of trying to give it that theme that you have going in your song. With that being said, if you guys have any requests for tutorials, make sure to leave them down in the comments, guys. If you guys want to support the channel, evilsounds.com. I do have a sound bank and sample pack coming out soon called Dirty Bird Volume 2, but it's not going to be called Dirty Bird Volume 2. It's probably going to be called The Black Book or something similar to what Chris Lake's label is called. Has a bit of that theme going for it. Alright guys, and with that being said, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I hope this shines some light in the sound of Anti-Up, Chris Lake, Chris Lorenzo's duo project. If you guys have any tutorials for, suggestions for tutorials, make sure to leave them down in the comments. If you want to support the channel, evilsounds.com. Dirty Bird is where it's at, the Dirty Chicken Volume 1 for Silent One. I do have another pack in the works, Dirty Chicken Volume 2, which will be coming out at the end of this month, July. And that one's going to be pretty much a sample pack and a sound bank. It's going to build upon what Dirty Chicken Volume 1 did. It's not going to be called Dirty Chicken Volume 2, though, but it's going to be an insane pack that I hope you guys will have fun using. And again, if you want to support my channel, that is the best way to do it. You guys take care. You have an amazing day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.